And I'm loving life with friends. Doing my life with friends. Doing my life with friends. Doing my life with friends. And I'm loving life with friends. Doing my life with friends. Doing my life with friends. And I'm loving life with friends.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Love and Life. So grateful to have you joining us today, and I'm really excited about today's conversation. To be fair, I'm always excited about every conversation, but this one actually is really special in so many ways because it's something that I find that in our generation it seems to be coming up quite a bit. So today we're going to be talking about friendflation, and it's the rising cost of friendships, because guys, friendships are getting pricey. They are getting very expensive. And I'm talking in terms of money, but also in terms of time. Obviously, as we're getting older, we are more like strapped for time. There's work, there's all kinds of things going on, relationships. But then like friendships will demand from you time, and it seems to be demanding a lot of money these days. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I have my amazing friends here to talk about it with me. So first of all, I'm going to come to the lovely Esther. Esther is friendship by excellence. This one, I call her the international friend, because today I'll call Esther, oh, I'm just in Ghana, oh, my friend is getting married. Then tomorrow I'll call her, oh, I just quickly went to the US. These my friends, they are about to have a baby. Wow. And then tomorrow is, in fact, evidence, did you not bring me cookies from Vietnam just now? So yes, this is my international traveler. But beyond that, Esther also has a real passion about money, about people managing their money and, things like that. So she is really, really well placed to have this conversation. And beyond all of that, obviously, she's my friend and sister who I'm very, very grateful for. So welcome, Esther.
Thanks, Fola. And I'm taking those biscuits back.
Hey, wow. What's about eating them?
No, thank you. I'm really excited to be here. Excited to have this conversation with you and Tomi. So yeah.
Thank you for coming. And no stranger to the podcast, we have had Tomi and his lovely wife, who she's not here today, but we have to bring her back. But yeah, Tomi also is an amazing friend of mine. Also so wise, honestly, such a wise man. And we actually call him Odogu Ijebu. So he knows a thing or two about money and being frugal as well. And I'm really, really excited for him to share his insights on the podcast today. So thank you for coming.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I am looking forward to learning from both of you.
Amen. Yes, we're all going to be learning together. And to be fair, this is what I say about the podcast all the time. It's not a group of professionals coming to tell you guys what to do. We are just sharing literally our own life experiences and what we've done maybe badly in and what we've learned and what we're doing better at, and hoping that you will take a thing or two away from that and be able to use that in your own lives and friendships as well. Okay, guys. So before we get into the conversation, I have a little game that I want us to play. So it's going to go, I will ask you a few questions, right? And then you answer yes or no, and then turn your answer to everyone to see. All right. Okay. First question. Have you ever lent money to a friend and regretted it? All right. You want to show everyone your answers? So that's a no, and that's a yes. Why did you regret it, Tomi?
All I'll say is money and friendships don't mix. But yeah.
That's why we are here. That's why we are here to talk about it today. Okay. Next question. Have you ever split a bill and felt secretly annoyed because maybe you only ate small chops and then you had to pay for the whole pounded jam that somebody else ate? So, has that ever happened? It's a yes with 2 exclamation marks for me. Yes. Okay. We'll get into that one because I feel like that's a real thing that a lot of people deal with, and it's really hard to navigate. So maybe we'll start there when we start. This one, I'm pretty sure, I hope none of you have ever done it. Have you ever pretended to forget your wallet to get out of paying for something?
Oh.
Tomi, you're thinking about it. Whoa. I cannot lie to you. I did not see this coming.
Oh. Actually, my handwriting is bad, but that says you know.
I
Definitely, all
I
the
don't
time
know.
with my siblings.
Oh,
all
with
the
your
time.
sibling. Very good. Your
100%.
brother is right
Oh,
and behind.
not him.
Not the sibling.
Not the sibling.
Not me, but he's like, nah, me, but okay.
I think for me, it's just like delaying, like,
Actually, to be fair, I think I've done that one. I just slightly hesitate, just, I'm trying
if I'm
find
visiting my sister, say I left my purse at home. There's no point.
Yeah,
You're
yeah. My little sister will be like, "Oh, gee," and I'm like, is there anything in that wallet? There's nothing inside. There's like 15 naira in the wallet, like that cannot pay for anything.
I'm screaming.
No, that's funny. Also, have you ever felt awkward discussing finances with a close friend? Okay. Oh no, and we've got yes. Okay. Amazing. I'll do one more question and then we'll get into our conversation. Which one do I do? Have you ever bought something expensive just to keep up with your friends? Yay. Got a yes.
I'm thinking I must have, but I can't think of what.
Okay.
So should I just put no?
Yeah, let's put no on that
Okay.
one, I guess. But Tomi, we want to hear this. We want to hear this story. How did it go down?
which one? I have so many.
Wow. pick the worst one. Tell us the worst one.
I think the one that I would always think about is like when I was in uni, I got this pair of Balenciagas.
Wow. In uni.
And I mean, like,
It's a ka-ching.
Wow.
I mean, to say I could afford it is like, I could afford it, but that was all the money I had in my account, right? But like, yeah, I bought it for myself, but also because like everyone around me at the time, well, not everyone, not everyone, but most people around me had, something like that, right? So I bought it. It was the wrong size,
I'm screaming.
I was moving back to Nigeria afterwards. Of course, I couldn't take it because I don't wear trainers. Nigerian life, you're wearing your slippers, So I gave it out. So every time that was the biggest waste of, of money. But yeah.
Oh, no, thank you for sharing that. And I think that segues very nicely into the conversation we're about to have, because you're not alone in that. At least then you were even in uni. They are full grown, adults, as we're properly doing life and making big life decisions, who are making decisions not because it's the best thing for them in the long run, not because it serves them well necessarily, but because that's what is expected of them, of their sort of class now, of the stage that they're in. And people do things really out of pressure. A friend of mine, who happens to be your wife, actually sent me this quote from some page, and I'm going to read it out because I feel like it really underpins the conversation we're about to have before we get into it. And it goes, although it may feel worth it for the friends we love, it has to be said that there has been a growing pressure over recent years to spend. I feel like this comes from social media, especially influencers and brand deals that attach consumerism to experiences that never used to be influenced in this way. What happened to meeting a friend for a walk in the park or just hanging out in each other's homes? There's always a pricey experience to tag onto the interaction nowadays. So to start from there, funny enough, she sent me this in the morning, and then in the evening, in one of my friendship circles, we're starting to plan all the friendship, all the Christmas friendship gets-togethers. So we're planning what we call friend mass. And then they put a poll in the chat about, what should we do for friend mass? And the two options were gather in somebody's house and everybody bring a dish. Everybody knows that's where you'll find me. Let's just gather and come and eat. And then the other option, and they even had to put fancy. They said fancy restaurant. No, they said fancy restaurant and we dress up. Of course, everybody has gone for. I feel like I was probably the.
They went to the fancy restaurant. That's how you know me and Fola.
I never experienced. I really never experienced because I was like, these people.
No.
But to be fair, this is like a new.
This is why we're friends.
Yeah, exactly. This is so. It was quite interesting to me, really and truly. It makes sense when I think about the girls, but me personally, I just want to gather and. But what we're finding more, I think, is that people are more inclined to do the spend the more spendy thing, and it's just making these interactions much more expensive. So let's take it from there, I guess. To come to you, Tommy, what's your sort of experience with, I guess, the cost of friendship, the rising cost?
I think, there's a, well, just sort of start by saying, I think friendship, there isn't any cost to friendship, but we are the ones that internally come up with what we think we need to do before we can build friendships. Right? So, you could literally walk or meet someone on the road and develop friendships, right? And now, you're not paying for credit to call someone anymore. You're paying a £15 a month, but it's not, for most people, it wouldn't damage you, right? But I think we then actually build internal walls and say, actually, I would like to build friends by going to dinner every Friday, or going to watch expensive concerts. So we associate those sort of expensive memories with friendships, which obviously is not the case. But I think when you said about your friends, what would you do? I'd rather go out and eat.
So you really?
I'd rather go out and eat. And I think you can see from the questions that you asked earlier on how, we're quite different. But I had yes to everything. And, and for you're trying to think about, I can give you a million times where I spent money that I shouldn't have spent this year alone, And it's recognized, I think when we're speaking earlier and just recognizing that we're very different.
Yeah.
And some people associate their identities around money.
Yeah.
Right? Rightly or wrongly. Some other people may be that you think that you walk into a room and you think you're the smartest person, and that's where identity is. But someone else is, I'm the most spiritual, or I'm the most hardworking, right? But obviously having your identity around money causes loads. Having your identity around anything else that I think is in God is wrong. But having your identity around money causes even more problems, which I guess we'll get into.
We will get into it for sure.
Yeah. Just off the back of what Tommy was saying, I think why our answers were so different is not to say that, my friends are one way and I don't care about impressing them. That's not it at all. But rather that me and my friends are quite similar in the sense that maybe we don't care to impress each other. So in terms of buying something to impress a friend, it's what are my friends even buying? That's so...
Facts.
Honestly, that's just the case. Because even when Fola, you called me when we were still in Vietnam to say, we're going to have this conversation. I'm I don't know if I have much to add. I don't feel like friendflation is something that perhaps has affected me when I was younger, but now it's not something that I really relate to. But we're almost the anomaly, I would say, me and my friends, because I went back and I asked some of my friends and they were what do you mean? No, it doesn't affect you. But then you're of course it does. So it depends on who you are, who you have around you, and your own values. And that's not to say that I haven't met people in life who are that way, but maybe because our values are so different, we just didn't align and therefore we aren't close friends.
Yeah.
So again, that's probably why our answers are so different. And then, because immediately when I hear the cost of friendship, yes, of course, there's financial cost, but then there's also physical cost of friendship. There's emotional cost of friendship. There's spiritual cost of friendship, right? So I think that's probably where I would say where the financial cost doesn't really, or maybe because, when we had our conversation earlier, I was saying that we're in this sweet spot in life right now where it's we're almost differentiating ourselves in the sense that everyone used to be the same at school, at university. Now we're kind of in our early careers, moving into later stages. But I think in the next 5 to 10 years, you will start seeing really big differences in financial terms, monetary terms between friends, right? Right. We're now at that stage where it's you can still see some differences. Some people are buying nicer cars. Some people are, owning houses, but that disparity is not so wide yet. Again, maybe that's why I'm still not feeling it as much as maybe others will do.
Yeah, no, that's helpful background. So I guess kind of following that train of thoughts now, as we start to level up, you can say, as people start to really, the gap begins to show, how do we manage our, I guess, money philosophy so that we don't get into the realm of having to like stretch ourselves beyond what we can or should afford. Now, a very common context, for instance, is with weddings, because we're now in this stage where obviously everybody is getting married, right? And this is where I see friendships being really challenged and stretched. Simple, well, I want to say simple things, they're not even that simple, but things like somebody is now doing Ashwebi at a price that, honestly, the whole package of being a bridesmaid, the whole package of being a bridesmaid these days, honestly, it's an investment. Honestly, if you put that money inside investment Kiniko, and it's actually an investment that really actually doesn't really yield like, okay, you know, it will yield positive vibes, but I feel like that's about all you're gonna get from it. So it's things like that. How do you start to form a philosophy so that it's not just that, oh, this one comes and says, oh, it's 500k, bam. This one is like, you know, how do you start to form sort of, I guess, healthy boundaries around your money philosophy as we all start to enter into these different phases? Because, so for instance, maybe somebody has been your friend for a really long time, but maybe they're now in a particular stage. So case in point, say a particular friend of mine is in this situation where the bride lives and works here. She has, here being the UK, she lives and works here. She has friends that also live and work here, right? So obviously they earn whatever they earn, and obviously exchange rates does what it does. Yeah. Now she has friends in Nigeria as well. Coming up to her wedding, the price of certain things for the friends that are here, given the wedding is in Nigeria, right? Giving the exchange rates for them is light work, right? But then you have people who are earning and in Naira, right? And it becomes a completely different ask for them. So for both the friends who maybe they're in the more comfortable place and the friends who are not as comfortable, how do we start to navigate that without causing friction in our friendships? Like, do you have any tips for people? Who should we start with this time?
Okay, I can start. There's a podcast that I love, and there was a scenario that came to them, and the scenario wasn't as, you know, the friend lived here, like they all lived in Nigeria, right? And this will show you the difference in thinking between someone like myself who lives here and like people in Nigeria. So the podcast, the scenario was the bride always wanted to, you know, have a wedding overseas, but she's just in a place where it's like, she knows her friends can't afford it. She knows her friends' financial situation, but this has been her dream. Like they know, everyone around her knows it's her dream to have a wedding abroad. And, you know, she's found a rich husband who can afford to do that, who can afford to pay for like members of her family to also travel. But her thing is she really wants her best friends at her wedding. But she doesn't want to come to them with that ask because she knows that they might not be able to make it. So like, when I was hearing the scenario in the podcast, I was thinking, oh, feeling bad for her. I'm like, oh, babe, like that's, you know, it's so sad because you want this, you can do it. What will your friends do? The podcasters themselves were just like, nope, do your wedding in Nigeria. And I was just so shocked by that. I was like, wait, what? Like, but this is her dream. They're like, but you know the financial situations of your friends. So why would you take this to them? What would you expect them to do? And I think it just goes to show the difference in thinking where it's like, maybe we are a little bit more privileged because we can, it's like, I wasn't even empathizing that much with her friends. I was empathizing with hers and, oh, that's your dream, you know? Whereas they were just like, no, like where do you expect them to find this type of money from? You're not even considering visas, things like that. So if you know that this is your dream, get your husband to start contributing to their own thing. Like, for real, it's like, sometimes it's like we're not exposed to the realities, to other people's realities. And we just think that, okay, we can move forward like as we wish. So it was really interesting to get that perspective because with us who live here, I would say it's a tad easier. I'm not saying it's not expensive for us, but it's a tad easier for us to accommodate a bit more, you know, spending around weddings and things.
Yeah. No, I think that like we have to recognize that we have different interests. Right. And sort of when I feel like mentioning that we have different things that like that influence how we see ourselves, right? And if money is yours, you need to sit down and think about, okay, so let's use a wedding as an example. You're planning a wedding. Social media has contributed to what you think a wedding should look like. There should be nice greenery. There must be an arc. There must be live flowers. You know, if there's a band playing a violin, you know, yes, you know, you must have your dress from, I don't know any dressmaker. but instead to dressmaker, you know. So and then so you take what social media has, then you now add that with someone like, to be honest, like me, that has an identity that has been built on money. And I'm not saying it's right, it's something I'm working on, but like, you know, so you expect the finer things, you know, like I'm the kind of person that if I'm shopping, I'll sort from high to low. You
Hey,
know? And I'm sure you guys are thinking, like, is that normal?
I cannot relate.
Don't judge me. That's
No
me,
judgment.
you
It's
know?
a safe space.
But then recognize, okay, so it's a wedding. What is most important to you? Is it how you look and where it is, or is it the people that are there and the memories? And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Honestly, I think some people are like, you know, like my feeling good and feeling like the day is all about me, and which means that it's in France, in wherever. Where did you take me? Iceland, you know.
Monaco,
Iceland,
Dubai.
it's fine. If you will look back at that and you'll be happy with that. But if you're someone that is actually, it's the memories that is important to you, then we're getting to the point where we need to learn to make I want to sacrifices, right? To recognize that actually, while I would like to have this fairy tale wedding, I'm not at that point now, right? Doesn't mean you can't do it in a couple of years. I want to have my family here, and make your decision based off of that. You know, it's not easy. You know, I think that like what social media does is that it makes it feel like everyone around you has something, when in reality that is not the case. You know, like I would always give the example of like, I'll say I'm a failed photographer, right? I tried photography. And when I bought a camera, it was like Fujifilm. I was like researching into Fujifilm. And every time I opened YouTube, I'll see why everyone is saying why I left my this to Fuji, why I left my this to Fuji, right? And obviously I bought the Fujifilm camera. And after I bought it, like I started seeing videos about how, well, I ditched my Fuji for Sony. And I can recognize that I was scammed. You know? But that's what social media does. Like you just feel like, oh no, if I don't have 3 days, if I don't have a trad, a pre-wedding shoot, post-wedding shoot, this like, but it's not, there's so many people out there, right? If you need comfort, there's so many people out there that are building friendships, genuinely finding joy and happiness without the money side of things, you know, and you just have to recognize that actually money shouldn't be as important as, if you're like me and you think that money is everything, you need to like reduce the importance of your place of money in your life.
Yeah, no, that's good. I feel like what I've heard from both of you is that you have to first figure out your own money philosophy, because if you don't have a sense of what value do you place on money and where is money in the scheme of things, when you then go and engage with other people, you will necessarily take on their money philosophy by force, and then you end up in a place of doing things that you didn't intend to do, you didn't plan to do, or you can't afford to do, quite frankly, because now that's not even really you. That's just you trying to show up as whoever everybody else expects you to be. But on that point, actually, if people are genuinely our friends, like if you are my friend, why should I feel the need to kind of to impress you? Or why should I not be able to be like genuine with you about, well, this is my finances, so this is what you are doing, I cannot actually afford it. Yeah. We'll come back to the point of sacrifice, because I really like that as well, because that's coming on the side of when you're the friend that's doing better, but then you recognize that, okay, some of your community, they're not quite there yet. How do you navigate that? But actually right now, how do you kind of maintain your money philosophy? How do you maintain honesty and just like, show up as your authentic self?
I think the question, how do you maintain your money philosophy? To me, it's actually very easy, but I think it's because of where I place money in life. I think a lot of people in our generation place it so high up, and that's why it's like, it's almost daunting for them, right? So if you like, you have your values as a human being, you know, religious values, whether that's Christianity and whatever religion you follow, or whether that's just your values as a human being, and then there comes money. If money is right at the top, I think that the thing that's wrong with that is because like money's so liquid. So it's like what you place your highest value in is liquid. It's like, how do you, I don't know if you understand what I mean. It's like, it's not something strong. It's like when you believe in God, that's like a solid
Anchor.
rock,
Yeah.
right? Money is so liquid. So if that's where you place your value, it's like you can just be flowing anyhow, right? So I think the reason why it's easy for me is because I don't like whether I'm wealthy or I'm not, I'm still going to think highly of myself because it's not the
It's not
top
you.
for me.
Yeah.
But then it's like when a lot of people, as you say, follow things on social media and whatnot, when that's your highest priority, your bank account is always speaking for you. You know, so I think it's keeping your money philosophy is also realizing like how do you see yourself? What is your what is your true identity in? It can't be money, because then I think that's where you struggle with the whole philosophy thing, right? It's like so yeah, I think for me that's why it's not hard for me to, because I don't put it high up.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Any?
Yeah, and I think like to then recognize that like that's you. What you're saying is everyone has a different philosophy, right? So me, I might be like, oh, money is so important to me, and then I'm not afraid to tell you, my friend, that actually I don't have money, but in reality, you don't care, right? And I think that's the thing, which is if we're talking about real friendships, you shouldn't like real friends don't care if you have money or not, because they care about who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And we have to, again, one, I think recognize that you are who you are and you have your tendencies. And then to be honest with yourself and then with your friends to say, actually, you know what, like, I don't have this. Like, I can't afford to go to Vietnam, right? Like, honestly, even just...
Toby,
even just
you have come.
I can't afford to go to Vietnam. You know, but when you're back, let's go to the park and...
My dear, take a walk.
you know, like, that's I mean, like, yesterday, me and my friend, me and my wife went to a friend's place, literally drove 5 minutes, and we had the best time, right? And I'm someone that genuinely, I'm literally, like I said earlier, I'm a fancy restaurant person. Like, it's just me, man. I'm sorry, it's me. But like, I'm more and more, I'm seeing that one, like, just being honest about like, who, like, obviously how much money you have or don't have with your friends, and also just still showing up, still going to meet them to spend the time, even if you don't have the money, is you know, it's where we need to sort of get to.
No, that's so good. And I love what you guys have said. You are so much more than your bank account. If all that there is to you is like the amount of zeros in your bank account, there's so much that needs to be challenged in your thought patterns, because it's a dangerous place to be, like you say, because money comes and goes, right? So you need to learn. I think it's Paul that says it in the Bible, to abound in little and to abound in much, where it's like, no matter what I have, like, that is not me. I am much more than my bank account. But there's so much more to get into, guys, but we will continue this in part 2 of the conversation, so we will see you.
Hi guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe.